TSPN presents Love, Hope, and Faith with Heather Murdock.
Good morning and welcome to Love, Hope, and Faith. My name is Heather Murdock and I'm so happy that you joined us today. Thank you so much. Today I have a very important show, and this show is going to be is a story about hope, essentially. And this is, if you didn't know, September is National Suicide Prevention Month or Suicide Awareness Month. And so today's show, I have a guest who's going to be sharing about his story of how God met him in the pits of despair and breathed hope into his life, and how he is now sharing that story and helping others who are maybe in that same place. And I don't know if you know the statistics, but 3,000 people a day worldwide commit suicide. 3,000 people a day worldwide commit suicide. And for every one that commits suicide, 20 attempt suicide. And of course we have suicide attempts and suicides that are even more common in veterans. I mean, that statistic is crazy of how many come home and are just desolate and desperate and feel that there's no hope. And I, as a believer in Jesus, I know that there is hope, and he is our living hope. And my pastor said something very interesting this weekend in a sermon. He said that no Supreme Court ruling, no government body can change the hearts of man. Only Jesus Christ can, and that's what the world needs is Jesus. And we as believers, we are his hands and feet, and we have the opportunity and the responsibility to reach out to people who are hurting, to bring the good news of hope, to bring the good news that there is transformation possible, that no matter where you've been, there is hope, and no matter where you've been, you can get through it because Jesus got through it. Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart because I have overcome the world, and through him we can overcome too. But many times as believers, we're giving the wrong message to the world. Many times as believers, people are thinking that we were reflecting judgment and hypocrisy and callousness, and that's not the heart of Jesus. The heart of Jesus, the Bible says he came to seek and to save the lost. He did not come to condemn the world. From John 3:17, he did not come to condemn the world, but to save the world through his son Jesus. And that is the saving God right there. A God who loves no matter what we've done. He can't love you more right now than he can't love you anymore if you're performing to his standards. He can't love you any less. I think I got that reversed. He can't, no matter what you do, he loves you. That's the bottom line. No matter what you do, he loves you. And whether you're doing the right things or doing the wrong things, he loves you the same. You cannot fall beyond his love, period. His love is limitless for you. And he sees you right where you are. And he has a hope and a plan for your life. And today you're going to hear about that in the life of my friend Scott Coleman. Good morning.
Good morning.
I got a little tongue twisted up this morning.
Happens to everybody.
I knew what I was trying to say. Scott, thank you for being on today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've known you for a long time, many years, and we used to go to the same church, and now you go to New Life Christian Center.
Yes, I do.
And you have a new responsibility there.
Yes, I've just been named the youth director there.
Mm-hmm.
Responsible for the U-Turn ministry, which is mostly an outreach youth group.
It's a great ministry.
Yeah.
I hear so many good things about it.
It is wonderful. It's fun for
you
me.
guys, what night do you guys meet?
We meet Friday nights from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. And kids start drifting in earlier and earlier. So
I love that because it's later than some youth groups, which is
Yes.
nice because especially Friday night, I mean, kids could be going and partying and doing all those things.
That's true.
Kids can come after the football games too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have sometimes freshman football players will drop by after their game.
Yeah, good.
And we welcome them all. We feed them all. We show them the love of Jesus.
Well, you were saying off camera that, and I love this, that there's a lot of unbelievers that come.
Yeah, we're actually probably more unbelievers than believers, which is our philosophy is that when Jesus walked this earth, he invited people to belong, and through that belonging, they began to believe.
That's right.
And
Amen.
I think often the Western church will try to reverse that and ask people to believe, and once they believe, they can belong.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these people, the students we get, have felt that rejection from churches, that they're not ready to make that transformation to belief until they really have an opportunity to experience the love of Jesus.
Yeah, belonging leads to believing.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's the same way with Celebrate Recovery. You know,
Yeah.
we tell people, come as you are. Everyone is welcome. And that's the heart of Jesus. Come as you are.
It'd
Come
be
as
an
you
empty
are.
church if everybody had to get their act together first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and again in Romans, you know, Jesus, there's a verse that says, while we were still sinning,
Yeah.
Jesus died for us on the cross.
Yep.
You know, while we didn't have to get cleaned up first, and then he died for us.
Absolutely.
While we were still sinning, he
Yeah.
died for us. So, you have a story, and I know we all have a story, but you have a story that is pretty profound. And I've heard it many years ago. Your wife Tammy told me one day. I forgot where we were driving somewhere together, and she shared the story with me. And I've never talked to you directly about it, though. And so, you know, God's perfect timing. Over the years, I have thought of you as a guest and thought you should share that story. And recently, we ran into each other,
Yes.
and we talked about it. And here you are today.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You want to just dive right in, or
Sure.
tell us about your childhood?
Well, my earliest memories were that of my father dragging my mother across the floor by her hair. He was a very abusive man. When I was 5, my mother left to escape the abuse, leaving us, me and my 2 brothers. And as his anger and psychosis grew, he was often threatening us with guns and saying he was going to kill us and then himself. And when I was 9 years old, he got in a car accident, and we were in the car. I went into the windshield, and the police officer told him he was going to have to appear in court the next day. And my dad told him, I won't be able to because I'm going to kill myself tonight. And the police officer said, well, then I'm going to have to take you in now. And my dad said, I'm just kidding. And I knew he wasn't, but I didn't say anything. The car was totaled, so we walked home. He was a research scientist, so he had cyanide. Ironically, he brought the cyanide home to punish my brother because he'd been ditching school. But my brother had gone to school that day, so he escaped the punishment. So he made himself mix the cyanide with water, and he was saying goodbye to my little brother, and he sat the glass down. And I had the opportunity to knock it over, but because of fear or maybe an understanding that my life might be better without him, I didn't do it. He had my older brother call the operator, and at the time there was no 911, but call them and tell the ambulance to come and that he was taking cyanide. He drank his poison, and the ambulance arrived, and I remember he was spitting up like foam, and they closed the door in his bedroom, and I never saw him again. But that night, for the first time in my life, the paramedic prayed over me.
Wow.
And I remember a calm coming over me. Didn't last forever, but at that moment I felt like it was all going to be okay.
Was that your first experience with prayer at all?
Yes. I'd actually I remember seeing a television show, I think it was Courtship of Eddie's Father, where he would pray before he went to bed. And I remember thinking, that is cool, you can just ask for stuff and help. And I remember experimenting with it, but not really knowing who I was talking with. But that was the first time anybody ever prayed for me.
Wow. I mean, from just being the outside observer here, you know, that's the hand of God right there. I mean, that's God. I mean, in a moment of true crisis. And there were other moments, but that was God.
Yeah.
That was Jesus.
Yeah. So they we didn't really have anybody live near us. My dad had an uncle that they sent us to, and they eventually took us to my grandparents in Oklahoma. And the thing about Oklahoma is it's such a bad place that the only good thing they could think to put on their license plate is, it's okay.
That's it?
That's what they have on their license plate. Oklahoma is okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
So my dad had told us that my mom had passed away. And so our first day of school in Oklahoma, my mom, who had not passed away, kidnapped us.
Wow, Scott.
And
from your grandparents?
From my grandparents. And
how old were you at this point?
I was still 9.
Still 9.
And my mom has bright red hair, so I knew her when I saw her, but I hadn't seen her since I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
And they chased us across to the Arizona state border, where my mom lived in Arizona. And once we were in Arizona, she had custody.
Wow. So the grandparents you stayed with were your dad's parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They both grew up in the same small town, so that's how she knew we were there, because her parents were there too. So coincidentally, that was my first time in church, was my dad's funeral.
Wow. So you did get to go to your father's funeral?
Yes.
Okay. We're actually going to take a break, and
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that. I know that's hard, even after all these years.
Yeah.
Please do stay tuned. We'll be right back.